fully aligned to your divine beingness. Let your heart be fully open to the cosmic nature surrounding you. As you see the divine numbers of numerological sequence surrounding you, angel numbers that is putting you into the divine portal gateway of effortless and divine co-creation from source. Have you ever heard the term angel number? Well, this number seems to be surrounding us on a very much daily basis. So, what exactly is an angel number? An angel number is a sequence of numbers that is in correlation to divine guidance, either from angels, divine beings, or source itself. You see, this number is an initiatory portal gateway into stepping fully into the magnitude of the universe and to pretty much confirm to you that you are on your right life path. The angel numbers simply confer a mystical nature or message towards you and the life that you're supposed to take on. Now, we live in this 3D dimensional world, that, everything around us we can see in form. But we know for a fact that there, of course, is a greater universe or multi-universe. And sometimes these angel numbers comes forth to us to when exactly that you're unsure about, your life's purpose or what exactly you are to do in life, is to simply show you that you are, of course, on the right path and to simply trust the process. So we see this pattern of numbers. It's usually, you could say, we have the initial numbers. You could go from 0 to 10 and then onward and upwards. But usually these sequences have two of the same numbers. For example, 7, 7, 8, 8. But most of the times, the angel numbers that goes higher and higher, the most common sequence is 3 numbers, which of course could go from all the way from 0 to, we'll go forth into the different numbers. But as we mentioned, the simple number of 0, you see this number, of course, is very relevant in the co-creation of the universe. We could take, for example, most people don't even pay attention to 0, 0, 0, because if we look at mathematical teachings, 0 equates to nothingness, which is very symbolic. Nothingness meaning the void, that everything is possible from this very void space, the divine circle, which represents 0. There lies everything in its co-created essence. So we see that numbers and mathematics in its correlation, as we are going to take on this topic today of numbers and angel numbers, we will see that it plays a very pivotal point in the co-creation. And as I begin with the 0, 0 sequence, it is of course an initiatory symbol of co-creation, of stepping into your divine portal of your greatest potential. So we'll go forward in explaining the significance of these angel numbers and what they pertains to you based on seeing them in your divine vision on a daily basis. So have you ever wondered why when a computer is being programmed, it starts with the binary codes of ones and zeros? Well, we will begin to see that these very numbers are the initiatory steps into co-creating anything. As I told you before, the 000 sequence steps you into that divine portal gateway of your divine potential. Now we shall turn to that very pivotal number of 111, 3 ones, which signifies new beginnings. The 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 111 angel number, it plays a vital role in all of our lives, as it tells us that wow, each and every day that we wake up, we have a chance to simply have a new beginning, whether it be in our mindsets or choices or lifestyle, that each single day is a divine cycle. So, one wondering, have you ever seen this angel number? Whether you are out somewhere and maybe you look at a car and you see that number, or you may step into a classroom and on the chalkboard is that 111, or most frequently you may look at your time and you see that number. You may even look at a receipt or anything around you that you know shows you numbers. You may see this very initiatory number of new beginnings and simply guiding you that you are on the right path and to simply trust the process. I remember during my spiritual awakening when I first awakened, this was one of the second angel numbers that I began to saw frequently. Like for me, angel numbers always surrounded me, but I realized that it was upon my spiritual awakening that these numbers just seem to be everywhere, and it's like they were all of a sudden speaking my internal language. Like wow, these numbers always surrounded me and was here to give me a divine message, that I am on the right life path and to just simply trust the process. So we see that the first number, 111, is simply telling you to trust everything and know that you have a chance to co-create a new beginning. If you don't like maybe certain things going on in your life, there's always a choice to recreate that story. Next, we move on to the wholesome essence of the 222 angel number. You see, the representation of the number 2 signifies, internal harmony and balance. It usually pays you close to drawing into your inner world and, seeking guidance and wisdom from your intuition. You will see that the essence of the number 2 itself represents a balance of peace. Always, also correlating to the divine feminine presence, the femininity of it all. The co-creative spirit, that you have a chance to step into your co-creative essence and to just fully be in a state of divine peace and balance. I remember once living in a home where the number on the home was 222, and I remember, as much as there was like so much going on in the external world, I felt so wholesome and at peace, being in that 222 portal at that time, because I got a chance to tap so deeply into my internal world to co-create the harmony and balance that resides within each and every one of us. So remember, pay attention to the numbers and the mathematical sequence around you. Your guides are trying to step you into that spiritual realm, existing not just around you, but internally within you, because everything begins from within. As I've told you before, we always need to pay attention to the Hermetic principles of thought that always says the greater cosmos, as above, so below here on earth, and as within, so without, which simply means whatever you co-create within yourself, you see it on the external 3D dimension. So that includes your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, your mental state. How are you thinking about reality and, whatever, experiences that you're having at the time being. So always remember that 222 divine message, your angel number from your divine guides, whether it be your angels, your higher dimensional guides, or source, the co-creator presence. Pay attention. You may look at your time and see that it's 222 right now. Say, wow, it's time to now tap in. As much as you're living in this three dimensional world, it's always about tapping into your divine essence. Because the external world is so much interrelated to your internal co-creation process. Next, we have this 333 divine master number portal. Now, 3 in its wholesome essence represents creativity and just connecting with your co-creative essence. 333 has often been conveyed to be a number of Christ consciousness, which means that just like Source, we all have this conscious state of mind. It's not just about suddenly having this great awakening and saying, wow, I've now become conscious. Even for those who have went on to live religious life because they have been, you know, programmed and socialized into this religious perspective, they all have a divine state of consciousness. They may all recognize the world around them and know that, yes, it was created by this supreme being, whether you recognize this being as God itself. We see that when we see this master number of 333, 33, 33, 33, we can see that, wow, you are beginning to understand that the Christ consciousness is within you. Now let's look at this depicted story of a religious version of Jesus, the Savior of the world, as described in religious texts. We begin to understand that Jesus' life story, in a symbolic sense, was simply to show us that we, of course, have this divine Christ consciousness within us. There may be many myths, mythologies, many different versions of what exactly happened during Jesus' incarnation. We even see the symbolic essence that at the age of 33, that he quote unquote died and resurrected. Now, I personally believe that this death and resurrection had to do with his more or less state of rebirth, of now understanding that, wow, I am in fact, as they said in the Bible, the Son of God. Well, the God essence, the Creator essence, you know, lying still within all of us was to see that he had to go through all of this test, trials, tribulation to finally know who he truly was. Now, we see that, wow, this 333 is telling you to tap fully into your Christ consciousness essence, to fully tap into your divine creativity and know that you are in fact a divine co-creator. Your angels and your divine guides and sources are telling you you have divine potential. And it's now time to pay attention to the signs everywhere through these angels' numbers, to tap fully into your Christ consciousness, and to have this internal rebirth within yourselves, the way that you perceive life, the way that you view the world. You have the chance to be incarnated on earth. Now, we can also see that multi-dimensional sequence of life, death, and rebirth, where we see that we, in fact, are simply souls here getting a chance to live life. And whether it is that we're going to pass on in this incarnation, we get a chance to just live out this life cycle and make it, you know, whatever outcomes that we want it to be by tapping in fully to this conscious and subconscious, I should say, state of mind, where we can just say that, yeah, there's a greater universe out there, connecting fully into the spiritual realm. And when we tap in fully into that spiritual realm, is we begin to see the changes out in this 3D dimensional world where we can birth forth into whatever it is that we perceive in our internal state of mind. So we will continue to dive fully into the patterns and sequences of other angel numbers that just shows us that wow, the amazement of life is so infinite and so grand that we ought to see the writings on the walls and the signs everywhere, especially through angel numbers. So now we should tap into the angel number of 444. This 444 is very significant and vital to my own life story, where I remember upon having my spiritual awakening back in 2020, being in my home at the time and just often seeing this number 444. And I remember during that process, I was going through a state where I was sort of disconnecting from this reality and tapping fully into the high dimension spiritual realms. You know, I was, as much as I was living in this world, I began to receive enlightenment about the wider world, the greater cosmos. So all of a sudden, my interest peaked into understanding the universe and how this entire world was co-created into its existence. I remember, of course, feeling the presence of my divine guides around me. Many of them were not just from the higher realms, the ascended master source itself, but many of them were my passed on loved ones who I remember could just feel their presence so mystically around me. And it was as if they were tapped into another life cycle, but they were right there with me, not just providing guidance, but almost like we were having this play-by-play story line in our present time of existence. So the number 444 simply states that your guides are all around you. They're trying to point you into the right direction. They're trying to tell you that you now have this potential to create a divine foundation in your life. That it is not just about the limitations and the previous, structures that you've built, whether you apply the structure as your home, your career, having children, your family, anything could be related to a structure, even your spiritual, perspectives, religious perspectives on life. It's not just about, but it's, in other words, it's telling you that you have these divine guides that have, most of them have had lifetimes here on earth, if not in other dimensions, and they're pointing you into the right direction. Now, if we take, for example, just the number 4, it shows you that you have a chance to birth forth this sense of stability into your life. It shows you that, like, we have 4 seasons, we have 4 directions, that is north, south, east, and west. And of course, we have 4 nature elements, the air, the water, the fire, and the earth. That out of these foundations, you get to build structure. So it shows you that, wow, the 444 essence is initiating you is not just to be in this 3D-dimensional structure, but to use the co-creative essence of the cosmic nature that surrounds you with so much divine supernatural guidance to birth the reality that your heart desires. Next, we shall look at 555. 555 signifies great change and great transformation of leaving the old and embracing the new. This often signifies a major life cycle change. Like, wow, maybe it's now time for you to move out of a home, a career. You know, maybe it's time for you to move out of a certain relationship that's not for your betterment, that you see that this relationship is just staring you into the wrong path. It may be maybe friendships, maybe family relationships that's draining you. Unnecessary attachments is what I like to call it. So we see that this 555, wow, it just amazingly steers you into also your intuitive inner world and says, wow, I do not like the present state that I'm currently living in. I now have a chance to recreate. And your divine guides are right there alongside you, helping you to pay attention to this numeral sequence. As we see, the mathematical sequence of numbers plays a vital part in co-creation. We see that, wow, these numbers are telling us, wow, you always have a chance to transform. In fact, this entire incarnation is all about constant change, which is the only thing in the universe. Change is always constant. So each day you have a chance to change the way maybe you perceive life, maybe the way you do things, maybe what you expect out of life. And most of all, maybe having these great changes and transitions, I like to see, in your daily life. So, what are these angel numbers trying to tell you? It may be time for change. Embrace the new and detach from the old. Next, we have this number of 666 that, throughout my incarnation, before my spiritual awakening, I have always heard that this is not a good number, that it represents something that, wow, it is the mark of the beast, as religious texts will explain in the book of Revelation. Like, wow, this number is very chaotic, and that it steers you in the wrong direction. Well, I'm here to shed light to you that it is quite the opposite. Now let's look at the context of what have been proposed in our society about this number 666, the mark of the beast. You see, 666 has been noted to be this number that, wow, beware and just be in fear, I should say. Now, I think this number was kind of used in a symbolic way to tell you, like, wow, it's not a good thing internally. This number is very much significant in the spiritual world. So what 666 really represents is tapping fully into a harmonic and balanced nature. I would say it's now the time when you recognize that you have a divine feminine, you have a divine masculine essence, being in great harmony and balance within you. You see, the number 6 is often related to the number of Venus, which is all about the planet of love and divine beauty and just great material flow. So this number was altered in its very much neutral state as a numerological sequence to be used by certain occult groups who do not want you to tap fully into your divine spiritual essence. You see, this number often depicts like being in a unbalanced state of mind, when it's truly all about being balanced and being in harmony. You see, it was often used by certain to not be in your illuminated state of mind, which is another symbolic representation of what the 666 number that created so much fear in many people who just, as they say, knowledge is power. When you don't have the knowledge and the wisdom about certain things, you simply believe the perceptions that has been co-created, as we could step into the very controversial topic of religion and religious belief. You see, we have been prescribed certain belief systems about, you know, spirituality, about religiosity, as I would say, and just what life is all about. So we see that the illuminated eye, of course, is helping us to have a clearer vision of the divine world, the divine portals, gateway out there, where you now have a divine essence to tap fully within. But it has been used. So I'm here to steer you into the right direction, as I would say, to get you out of that mindset into believing that 666 is the mark of the beast. It's a very much divine number that wants you simply to tap fully within, creating harmony and balance within yourself so that it could be a replica in your material and physical world. So that, as I will keep saying, this hermetic principle of thought, which teaches us how to birth stuff into form, we see that when you have harmony and balance within you, you will begin to see it reflected on your outside world, whether it's in your day-to-day experiences, the way you feel, what is reflecting and magnetized towards you. So I want you to understand that, wow, it is now time to get out of this mindset that such a neutral number as 666 is the mark of the beast. In fact, it's a very pivotal and divine angel number that asks you to go forward and create harmony and balance within yourself. So now we shall tap into the number of 777, which the number 7 represents the God code number. You see, 777 gives you inner wisdom and helps you to simply shape the nature of your reality. It's to tap fully into your God mode to tell you that the universe is right there all alongside you to co-create the life that you want to see in your material world. So tap in fully into your inner wisdom and go ahead and be right alongside God and create a source into birthing that reality. Next we have the number 888, which, as we know, the number 8 signifies the infinity and of course the self. So the 888 portal usually represents abundance and financial success. It's usually tapped in to say, wow, when you are one with yourself in your highest divine frequency, based on your frequency and vibration, you begin to see the infinite nature of abundance that always surrounds you. It's not just always about monetary abundance. Sometimes it could be just your divine abundance, the way you feel about yourself and the way you perceive life. Whether it's in your family, whether it's in, you could use simple material possessions such as clothing, food, other things around you. Just in this frequency of being in the greatest nature of yourself to magnetize towards you the fruits of your internal heart's desire. Next, we shall tap into 999. The number 9 signifying a state of completion. As we are in a universal 9 year, the year 2025, we begin to see that this is a time of great change and great transformation as we welcome in the new. As we begin to see that it's not just our personal lives, but on a larger scale, we begin to see that we are in a very pivotal time of great change and transformation where we are tapping into higher spiritual wisdom and essence of our greater reality. We are beginning to birth a new co-creative earth that, is more divinely conscious. And the 999 is telling you letting go of the old, similar to the number 5, but I would believe it's on a greater scale, and birthing the new, welcoming the new. What no longer serves you, it's time to let it go, but in the meantime, the angels' numbers are signifying to you to simply trust the process and know that even in those challenging times, it's always about transforming, it's always about growing, and it's always about being able to say, wow, I have a chance to birth a new and whole reality. I just have to continue to tap with it, continue to tap to the greater divine cosmos that's constantly initiating us and all about birthing, something new into form that it's all about your divine heart's desire. So next we have the great 1010 master number, the 1 and the 0, which, as I've stated before, the binary code, which is about co-creation, stepping into that void space of the 0 to birth forth a new beginning, to embrace, your divine life's potential. 1010, wow, it's just about simply being in a great state of your divine manifestatory potential to say that, wow, I always have a divine chance to co-create. It's now a chance to rebirth and rebuild pretty much. Next we have the 1111 portal, which is of course a manifestation number, a master number, as the number 11, the double number of 1-1, like a divine pillar, showing you that you can always tap in and out of this spiritual realm and connect to your physical realm. That the spiritual realm is what is able for you to tap in, for you to be able to co-create what is in your physical reality. So we see that these angels' numbers are so important in guiding us on our daily path. This mathematical sequence plays a very vital role in how we shape our reality. But what you can see is the commonality between these numbers, that it's all about tapping within. Some people, they may use the external world to dictate their internal reality, but it's always about going within internally and getting yourself into that divine state, this balance, this harmonious state, this intuitive nature of creativity, to see that I always have a chance to recreate my reality. So we see that something that's so common everywhere. Many people do not pay attention to it until they may have their spiritual awakening and say, wow, these angel numbers plays a vital role in my life. Let me just tap within and see how much I could continue to birth into this incarnation. So there you have it. Angel numbers plays a vital role in your life to let you know that you are never alone. Even though you may be alone at a certain point in your life, alone in your home, alone somewhere out, but you're never alone. You always have divine guidance, whether it be from your angels, your divine guides, and most of all, Creator Source itself, to continue to co-create and shape your reality into your heart.